there, my name is Lily and my channel is a place where I share all of my healthy, vegan, mostly whole food plant-based recipes with all of you. So I know Thanksgiving, or ThanksLiving is a better way to put it. I know that it is coming up soon and some of you are probably looking for some easy but healthy and really delicious sides to go along with your dinner. So I have 3 of my favorite recipes and I'm going to share those with you today, and hopefully you can add them to your ThanksLiving menu. So the first one is a delicious baked butternut squash mac and cheese recipe, and I absolutely love this recipe. It is so easy to make. You can make it ahead of time, and in my opinion it tastes better reheated anyway. Just a little tip, whenever you do reheat it, add in a little bit of soy milk just to make everything as creamy as it was when you first made it. But anyway, that's the first recipe. The second one is an easy sweet potato casserole, and I do a little something special to the sweet potatoes and it really makes them a lot sweeter that way, so I hope that you like that recipe. And last is a broccoli gremolata. So gremolata technically has like parsley and parmesan and lemon zest and garlic. So I'm gonna make a vegan version of that, and it goes great on broccoli. So you can also do it with any other green of your preference as well. So stay tuned and I'm gonna show you how to make 3 easy, delicious, whole food plant-based recipes to add to your dinner table. So to start to make this sauce for this baked mac and cheese, we are going to be adding in some super firm tofu to our high-speed blender, and I'm going to be using half a block or about 8 ounces of super firm tofu. I like to blend this first along with the soy milk because I find that it gets really creamy this way. I'm going to be adding in 2 cups of unsweetened soy milk. I love this brand because the only ingredients are soybeans and water. I'm going to pop this on the blender until it is nice and silky smooth. Alright, and it is all blended, and it is essentially just a thicker soy milk at this point. But next to this, we are going to be adding in 1 tablespoon of white miso paste. This adds really nice umami and saltiness, really mimics the cheesy flavor really well. So about 1 tablespoon going in. I'm also going to do a tablespoon of minced garlic. A 1/4 cup of nutritional yeast. This also helps with a nice cheesy flavor. A 1/4 cup of almond flour, the super finely ground almond flour, preferably the white kind that looks kind of like Parmesan cheese. And this just helps with the texture. Next, I'm going to do a teaspoon of onion powder. Half a teaspoon of salt, half a teaspoon of black pepper, and this one is optional, but I like just a little kick to my mac and cheese, so I'm going to do a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne pepper. And then last, just to enhance the fall vibes, and this is just a really nice flavor to add into any cheesy dish, I'm going to add in about 1/8 teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Now we just have to wait on our butternut squash to finish cooking, and then we'll throw that in the blender as well. Next, I'm just bringing a large pot of water to a boil, and you just want to heavily salt your water just to help flavor your noodles as best as possible. So in my large pot, I'm just going to add in 1 box or 1 pound of large elbows. So I just like traditional elbows in my macaroni, but you can do whatever shaped pasta you prefer. And I'm just going to cook these for 5 minutes, that way they are al dente. And here is my butternut squash. So this was a smaller one, and I just sliced it in half and put them face down and roasted them for 1 hour, and they've been cooling for about 15-20 minutes now. So I'm just gonna scrape the flesh out straight into the blender. Add in the juice of half of a lemon. Now I'm just gonna place the lid on this and get it good and blended. Okay, so I've just drained my pasta, but I did leave probably about a half a cup of the pasta water in here. And now I'm gonna add in the cheese sauce. And then this is an optional ingredient, but I'm gonna be adding in 1 teaspoon of arrowroot powder. If you don't have this, you could also use cornstarch, and this is just gonna help thicken our sauce and get it kind of ooey gooey, regular cheese texture. And I definitely could have added that in whenever I was blending it, but I kind of forgot about it. So you just wanna bring this to a boil and stir it for about 5 minutes, and it will thicken up. All right, and once you see that it is starting to thicken up, and it looks about like this, you wanna turn it off, and then we're gonna transfer it into our baking pan. So this is like a 9 by 13 baking dish. All right, so I have half a cup of panko breadcrumbs. You can use whatever kind of breadcrumbs, just make sure they don't have milk in them, or you could even make your own by toasting up some sourdough bread and then blitzing it in your food processor. But you're just gonna sprinkle these across. And then I like to sprinkle on a little bit of dried thyme as well, but this is optional, probably about like a 1/4 teaspoon or so. All right, and this beauty is gonna go in the oven and bake for about 15 or 20 minutes at 400 degrees. Or until the breadcrumbs are nicely browned. So I've just roasted about 5 or 6 really small sweet potatoes. I had just bought one of those big bags from Whole Foods, and I cut them in half and roasted them face down for 50 minutes. You know they're good to go whenever they start to ooze that ooey gooey liquid right there. I'm just gonna let these cool off, and then we're gonna scrape these into our mixing bowl. All right, so you just wanna remove all the skin and get as much of that flesh as you can. And you can see they're gonna have some really nice flavor because they are nice and roasted. And I did not wait long enough to cool these off, but it's okay. And you can definitely save the skins and roast these up in the air fryer, and they'll be really crunchy and taste pretty good, to be honest. And this is where all the fiber is, so you do want to eat these. So it is really important to roast them like this because it develops this nice smoky flavor, and it kind of mimics the marshmallows when they get roasted on a traditional sweet potato casserole. So I really think you cannot skip this step. So I'm gonna be using my little KitchenAid handheld mixer. This just makes it go way faster. If you have a stand-up mixer, you could also use that. Or you could just use a potato masher. It's just gonna take you a lot longer. Okay, and go ahead and taste your mixture and just make sure that it's sweet enough for your liking. Oh yeah. When you roast them like this, they're so naturally sweet. In my opinion, you don't need to add anything, but if you wanted to, you could add like 1/4 cup of maple syrup or agave or date sugar, something like that. But yeah, wow. Delicious. You can see how fluffy it gets with mixing it with the hand mixer instead of just mashing it. And you want to scrape that bowl clean. Okay, and so you'll just even this out. Spread it evenly. I definitely could have doubled the amount of sweet potato, but it all depends on how big your dish is. Next, to my food processor, I'm gonna be adding in 1/2 cup of walnuts. Along with 1/2 cup of pecans. You could obviously just do one or the other, but I like a good mixture. And then 1/4 cup of rolled oats. And to flavor this up, I'm gonna do 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Along with just a teeny little pinch of salt, maybe like 1/8 teaspoon. Just to balance out the flavors. And then in this crumble topping, I like to do a little bit of sweetener, so I'm gonna do about 2 tablespoons of maple syrup. And we're just gonna pulse all this together until it becomes a nice crumbly powder. That smells amazing. All right, and that right there looks perfect. All right, and then you just pour the crumbly mixture on top. It's that simple. Honestly, it's easiest to spread it with your hands. And I like to kind of leave the edges exposed of the sweet potato, that way you kind of know what is underneath. All right, and this is gonna go in the oven at 425 for about 15 to 20 minutes. Just kind of keep an eye on the topping and make sure it doesn't burn. So I just pulled this out of the oven and look how nicely browned it is on the top. This is what you are going for. So it took mine 15 minutes, but depending on your oven, the pan you use, all that good stuff, you may need more or less. Just kind of keep an eye on it because you do not want it to burn. So I'm just gonna let it cool off and I'll plate it up. So the first thing you're gonna wanna do for this broccoli gremolata, you're gonna wanna toast your pine nuts. So I just have a little packet of pine nuts. Let's see how many ounces is this. 1.7 ounces or 48 grams. And we're just gonna get these toasted up in a saucepan over medium heat. Before you start toasting up your pine nuts, make sure to have a pot of water on to boil because we are going to blanch the broccoli. After about a minute, you just want to kind of flip them over. Yeah, Mo. You don't want them to burn, so just keep a good eye on them. Okay, so you definitely want to keep an eye on them. See, these are already starting to brown up nicely. So I'm just going to give them another 30 seconds or so, and then we'll take them off the heat and set them aside in a bowl. So I have some fresh flat leaf parsley. This is about one big handful. And I'm just gonna mince it really well. Okay, and you want it to be minced really fine like this. And this comes out to be 2 tablespoons or so of minced parsley. And then the other ingredient you're gonna need is some minced garlic. I've minced garlic already. So, last ingredient for the gremolata sauce is going to be some lemon zest. So I'm gonna go ahead and zest this up. And I'm just gonna zest the whole lemon in here. And if you don't have a lemon zester, you can also use a really fine grater. That's kind of what this is, and it works just fine. Just make sure you rotate after each grate, because you do not want to grate the white part, because that is not going to taste good. So just keep rotating it. And it comes out to about a tablespoon of lemon zest. And this is going to give us so much flavor. So our water is boiling. All right, and so once your water is boiling, you're just gonna pour your chopped broccoli. So this is 2 medium-sized broccoli heads, and I just cut off the florets into about bite-sized pieces. And we're just gonna blanch the broccoli for about 3 minutes. So while the broccoli is cooking, prepare an ice bath with just ice and water in a bowl, because we're gonna put the broccoli straight into the water to stop the cooking process after. And I'm just going to drain this really quick and get it in the ice bath. Oh my God, that's hot. Stupid. Straight into the ice bath. I'm just gonna make sure it's all covered. Just leave it just for a few minutes. Okay, and so I just drained the broccoli again, and of course there's ice cubes in it because it was an ice bath. So just pick out the broccoli, get it in another bowl, and then we're actually gonna pat the broccoli dry with paper towel, just so that it can crisp up better in the pan. Okay, and they don't have to be perfectly dry, just mostly dry. All right, and once it's warm, just put the broccoli straight into the pan. And you just want to let it cook for about 2 minutes before stirring it, just so it can get a good browning on it. Okay, and right before you stir it the first time, sprinkle it with a little bit of salt. Make sure everything gets covered. It's probably about a 1/4 teaspoon or so of salt. And a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. I just like to add the salt and the pepper in because I think it makes it more fragrant. All right, and then you can add in your garlic. All right, and just stir that and get it nice and sauteed. And I almost forgot, the other ingredient in a gremolata is Parmesan cheese. So to make this vegan, I just put together my little vegan Parmesan recipe, which is a tablespoon of nutritional yeast, a tablespoon of almond flour, and then about 1/2 teaspoon of onion powder and garlic powder and salt. And then I just put it in a mason jar, shake it all together, and I just usually have this on hand. I find it super tasty and really easy to make, and it's shelf stable this way. So you want to put the broccoli on whatever plate you're gonna be serving it in, because you're going to dress it with all of the other gremolata ingredients. So we have our pine nuts, and depending on how much broccoli you make, you may not need all the pine nuts. And then your parsley. The lemon zest. last but certainly not least, the vegan Parmesan. And there you have it, a delicious, super easy, and really beautiful Thanksgiving side. And really you can have this whenever, but it's really just like a little showstopper side item, and you can do it with any green. You could also do it with green beans or kale or asparagus, but I really like broccoli, so I do it with broccoli. Extra little boost of flavor, you can also squeeze over some lemon juice, but that is optional. It tastes really good without it, but I love an extra zing in there. I hope you enjoyed these recipes, and I hope that you decide to add them into your ThanksLiving, and I hope that you decide to add these into your holiday recipes this season. And if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you are new here. And if you're not new here and you haven't subscribed yet, please go ahead and just hit the subscribe button. It helps me out a ton. And I just want to say thank you. I finally hit my monetization goals with YouTube. So my channel is growing slow but steady, and I'm so thankful for that. Thank you so much to you returning viewers. I couldn't do this without you. So I'm thankful for you this ThanksLiving season. If you made it to this point in the video, comment down below and let me know what is your favorite side item. Alright, thanks for watching. I'll see you very, very soon in another video. Bye!